The warning lights flashed red across the control panel as Daeho Kim pulled his cargo ship into Nexus Station. His hand shook slightly as he powered down the engines. Another close call. The pirates had been getting bolder lately in Solo. Cargo runs were becoming more dangerous each month. Daeho stepped out of his ship and looked around the busy docking bay. Hundreds of other pilots moved about their business, loading and unloading cargo. Most of them worked in pairs or small crews. Daeho always worked alone. He had been flying solo for 3 years now, ever since his last partner quit after a pirate attack nearly killed them both. Money was better when you did not have to split it, but the loneliness was starting to get to him. The long trips through empty space with nobody to talk to were wearing him down. Daeho walked through the station corridors, passing shops and restaurants. He stopped at a small cafe and ordered coffee. As he sat drinking, he overheard 2 pilots talking at the next table. "I tell you, getting a companion was the best decision I ever made," one pilot said. "No more talking to myself during those long hauls." "Are they expensive?" the other pilot asked. "Depends on what you want. The fancy ones cost a fortune, but you can get basic models cheap. Just someone to keep you company, you know." Daeho finished his coffee and left the cafe. He had heard about the companion markets, but never thought seriously about them. Most pilots he knew who bought companions were looking for something he was not interested in. But maybe there was something to the idea of just having someone to talk to. He found the companion market in the lower levels of the station. The area was dimly lit and filled with small shops and stalls. Signs in different languages advertised various alien species. Daeho felt uncomfortable as he walked past the displays, seeing how the beings were presented like products in a store. At the third shop he visited, a heavy-set human dealer approached him. "First-time buyer?" the dealer asked with a knowing. "Smile, maybe," Daeho replied. "I just need someone for company on long cargo runs." "Someone to talk to." The dealer nodded. "I have just the thing. Follow me." He led Daeho to a quieter section of the shop. Along the wall were several small rooms with transparent walls. Inside each room was a different alien being. The dealer stopped at one of the rooms. "This is Yuna," the dealer said. "She's a Vellani. Very quiet, very obedient, perfect for what you need." Daeho looked into the room. A small blue-skinned being sat on a simple bed, reading something on a small device. She was humanoid, but much smaller than a human, maybe 4 feet tall. Her skin was pale blue, and her large eyes were dark purple. She looked up when she noticed them watching. "The Vellani are not popular with most buyers," the dealer continued. "They look too young, if you know what I mean. Most customers want something more exotic, but for simple companionship they are perfect. Very smart, very loyal." Daeho watched. As Yuna stood up and walked to the transparent wall, she did not look afraid or sad like he expected. Instead, she looked curious about who was watching her. "How much?" Daeho asked. "For her? 5,000 credits? That includes basic clothing and personal items." It was less than Daeho had expected. It's much less than what he had heard other pilots pay for companions. Why so cheap? "Like I said, not popular. Most buyers want something that looks more adult. The Vellani are too small and innocent looking for most tastes." Daeho looked at Yuna again. She was still watching them with those large purple eyes. There was something about her expression that seemed different from the other beings he had seen. She did not look defeated or empty. She looked alert and intelligent. "I will take her," Daeho said. The dealer seemed surprised. "Are you sure?" "I have other options that might be more to your liking." "No, she is fine." The paperwork took an hour. Daeho learned that Yuna had been in the companion program for 6 months. She was 24 years old, which was young adult for her species. She could speak basic galactic common and had been educated in general knowledge suitable for companionship duties. When the dealer opened Yuna's room, she gathered her few belongings in a small bag. She wore a simple gray outfit that was clearly a standard companion uniform. As she walked out, she looked up at Daeho. "You are my new owner?" she asked. Her voice was soft and had a slight musical quality to it. "I guess so," Daeho said, feeling uncomfortable with the word owner. My name is Daeho Kim. I pilot cargo ships. I am Yuna. I am pleased to meet you, Daeho Kim. They walked through the station together toward the docking bay. Daeho noticed that Yuna looked around with interest at everything they passed. She seemed to be taking in all the details of the station. Have you been off this station before? Daeho asked.
No.
This is my first time leaving the companion center, Yuna replied. I've only seen pictures of spaceships and other places. When they reached Daeho's ship, Yuna stopped and stared at it. Her eyes went wide and a smile spread across her face. This is your ship? She asked. Yes. It is called the Star Runner. Nothing fancy, but it gets the job done. Yuna walked around the ship looking at it from different angles. It is beautiful, she said. Daeho was surprised. The Star Runner was an old cargo hauler, practical but not pretty. Most people called it a rust bucket. But Yuna seemed genuinely excited about it. Would you like to see inside? Daeho asked Yuna. Nodded eagerly. As they went up the boarding ramp, she asked questions about everything. How fast did it go? How many people could it carry? What was it like to travel between stars? Daeho found himself enjoying her enthusiasm. It had been a long time since anyone had been interested in his ship or his work. He showed her the cargo hold, the engine room, and finally the small living quarters. This is where we will stay during flights, he explained. There are 2 beds, a small kitchen, and a bathroom. Not much space, but it is home. Yuna looked around the living area with the same excitement she had shown for everything else. What is wonderful, she said. When do we leave? Tomorrow morning. We have a cargo run to the Kepler system. It will take about 2 weeks. 2 weeks flying through space, Yuna said, her eyes lighting up. I cannot wait. Daeho stared at her. In all his years of flying, he had never met anyone who was excited about spending 2 weeks in a cramped cargo ship. Most people found space. Travel boring at best, terrifying at worst. Are you not nervous? He asked. Why would I be nervous? Yuna replied. I get to see the stars and travel to new places. This is the most exciting thing that has ever happened to me. As Daeho prepared for sleep that night, he wondered what he had gotten himself into. He had expected to buy a quiet companion who would simply keep him company. Instead, he had found someone who seemed genuinely happy to be there. Maybe this would work out better than he had hoped. The next morning, Daeho woke up to find Yuna already awake and sitting by the small window in the living quarters. She was staring out at the stars with a look of pure wonder on her face. Good morning, Daeho said as he got out of bed. Good morning, Daeho Kim, Yuna replied without taking her eyes off the window. The stars are so beautiful. I never imagined they would look like this. Daeho looked out the window. To him it was just the same view he had seen thousands of times. Before, black space with tiny white dots of light. But seeing Yuna's excitement made him look more carefully. The stars did seem brighter somehow. We should get ready for departure, Daeho said. The cargo needs to be loaded, and we have a schedule to keep. Yuna jumped up immediately. Can I help? I would like to learn about the ship. Daeho was surprised. Again, most passengers just stayed out of the way during departure preparations. But Yuna followed him eagerly as he went through his pre-flight checklist. She watched everything he did with intense focus. When he explained what each button and switch did, she asked thoughtful questions. She seemed to understand the ship's systems faster than some trained crew members he had worked with. You are very smart, Daeho observed as they finished the checklist. My people value learning, Yuna replied. We believe that understanding how things work brings us closer to happiness. As they prepared to leave Nexus Station, Daeho showed Yuna how to strap herself into the passenger seat. The ship's engines hummed to life, and they began to move away from the station. Yuna pressed her face against the window as they accelerated. This is amazing, she whispered. We're actually flying through space. Daeho found himself smiling. Her enthusiasm was infectious. He had forgotten what it felt like to be excited about space travel. After years of routine cargo runs, it had become just a job. But seeing it through Yuna's eyes reminded him why he had wanted to be a pilot in the first place. Once they were on their way, Daeho showed Yuna around the ship more thoroughly. She was fascinated by everything, especially the small kitchen area. What is this machine? She asked, pointing to the coffee maker. It makes coffee, a human drink. Would you like to try some? Yuna nodded eagerly. Daeho made 2 cups of coffee and handed one to her. She sniffed it carefully, then took a small sip. Her eyes widened and she smiled. It is bitter, but in a good way, she said. It makes me feel more awake. Da-da-da-da-da-da. That is the point, Daeho laughed. Most pilots live on coffee. Over the next few days, Daeho discovered that Yuna found joy in the smallest things. She was amazed by the way the ship's gravity generator worked. She loved watching the stars change as they traveled through hyperspace. She even enjoyed the simple meals they shared together. On my world, we have a saying, Yuna told him one evening as they ate dinner. Happiness is not found in big moments, but in small ones that we choose to notice. Daeho thought about this. He had been so focused on the dangers and difficulties of his job that he had stopped noticing the good parts. Having Yuna there made him see things differently. She also proved to be excellent company during the long hours of travel. So unlike the awkward silence he had expected, they talked easily about many things. Yuna was curious about human culture and asked many questions about Earth and human society. Do all humans live alone like you do? She asked one day. Not all of them, Daeho replied. Many humans live with families or friends. I chose to live alone because it seemed easier. But you are not happy alone, Yuna observed. Daeho was quiet for a moment. No, I guess I am not. You, I suppose. You did not buy me, Yuna said gently. You gave me a chance to see the universe. That is a gift. Her words surprised him. He'd been thinking of their relationship as a business transaction, but Yuna saw it differently. She was grateful for the opportunity to travel and learn. It's not resentful about being purchased. In return, Yuna told him about her homeworld. She described a peaceful planet where her people lived in harmony with nature. They were skilled engineers and builders, but they valued wisdom and contentment over wealth and power. My people believe that the purpose of life is to find joy and share it with others, she explained. We think that most problems in the universe come from beings who have forgotten how to be happy. Daeho found this philosophy interesting. Humans often seemed to make things more complicated than they needed to be. Maybe there was something to be learned from the Villani way of thinking. One evening, as they sat in the common area, Daeho decided to play some music. He had a collection of songs from different worlds and cultures. When the first song started, Yuna's eyes lit up. This is beautiful, she said, swaying slightly to the rhythm. What is this? It is called music, Daeho replied. Humans create it for entertainment and expression. My people have something similar, but not quite like this, Yuna said. May I hear more? They spent the next few hours listening to different types of music. Yuna loved all of it, from classical symphonies to modern electronic beats. She clapped her hands and moved to the rhythm, her joy evident in every movement. You really enjoy everything, do not you? Daeho asked. Why would I not? Yuna replied. Every new experience is a gift. Every moment is a chance to learn something, or feel something new. As the days passed, Daeho realized that his entire outlook was changing. Tasks that had seemed boring before became interesting when he explained them to Yuna. The ship felt less like a lonely prison and more like a home. Also noticed that Yuna was not just a passive companion. She was learning quickly and starting to help with simple tasks. She had a natural understanding of the ship's systems and often spotted small problems before they became bigger ones. You are very observant, Daeho told her after she noticed. A minor issue with the navigation system. People are taught to pay attention to details, Yuna replied. Small problems often become big ones if they are ignored. One night, as they sat looking out at the stars, Daeho realized something important. He had bought Yuna thinking she would make his lonely life more bearable. But instead, she had made his life actually enjoyable. Yuna, he said quietly. Yes, Daeho Kim? Thank you for being here. I did not realize how much I needed a friend. Yuna smiled at him. Thank you for giving me the chance to see the universe. I have never been happier, as they continued their journey toward the Kepler system. Daeho felt something he had not experienced in years. For the first time in a long while, he was looking forward to tomorrow. The alarm screamed through the ship, waking Daeho from a deep sleep. Red lights flashed in the darkness as he jumped out of bed and ran to the control room. Yuna was right behind him, her eyes wide with concern. "What is happening?" she asked. Daeho said grimly as he checked the scanner. 3 ships were approaching fast from behind. They must have been following the convoy. Daeho and 5 other cargo ships had been traveling together for safety. The Outer Rim routes were dangerous, and pirates often attacked lone vessels. But even convoys were not completely safe. "What do we do?" Yuna asked. "You need to get to the emergency shelter," Daeho said, pointing to a small reinforced room near the back of the ship. "Lock yourself in there, and do not come out until I tell you." But Yuna did not move toward the shelter. Instead, she looked at the control panel with the same focused expression she had when learning about the ship's systems. "The navigation computer is showing errors," she said, "and the shield generator is running at only 60% power." Daeho looked at the displays. She was right. The ship was having multiple system failures at the worst possible time. "The pirates must be using some kind of jamming device," he said. "It is affecting our electronics." The radio crackled with voices from the other ships in the convoy. Pirates were demanding that all vessels surrender their cargo. Some of the other pilots were already talking about giving up. "I am not going to the shelter," Yuna said firmly. "Yuna, it is dangerous. You could get hurt. You need help," she replied. "I can fix the navigation computer while you pilot the ship." Daeho wanted to argue, but another alarm started sounding. The pirates were getting closer, and he needed to focus on flying. "Stay low and be careful," he said. Yuna nodded and crawled under the control panel. Her small size allowed her to reach places that would be difficult for a human. She began working on the navigation system with quick, sure movements. The first pirate ship opened fire, and the convoy scattered. Daeho pushed the Star Runner into a sharp turn, trying to avoid the energy blasts. The ship shook as a shot hit their rear shields. "Shields down to 30%, Daeho called out. "Navigation is working again," Yuna replied from under the panel. "But I need to get to the engine room to fix the shield generator." "No, it is too dangerous. The pirates could board us." "I can do it," Yuna said. "I am small and fast. They will not even see me." Before Daeho could stop her, Yuna was crawling through the access tunnel that led to the engine room. The tunnel was too small for a human, but perfect for someone her size. The battle was getting worse. 2 of the convoy ships had already been disabled. The pirates were focusing on the remaining vessels, including the Star Runner. Daeho flew as well as he could, but the ship was sluggish without full power. "Shield generator is fixed." Yuna's voice came through the comm system. "Shields back to full power." "How did you do that so fast?" Daeho asked. "The problem was simple once I could see it," Yuna replied. "The jamming device was causing a feedback loop. I just had to reroute the power flow, with the shields working." Again, Daeho could fight back. He returned fire at the nearest pirate ship, hitting their engines. The pirate ship spun out of control and retreated. "Yuna, where are you now?" Daeho asked. "I'm in the cargo hold. I can see something strange." "Do you mean?" "There is a small device attached to our hull. It looks like it does not belong there." Daeho realized what she had found. "That is a tracking beacon. The pirates must have planted it when we were docked at the last station. That is how they found us." "I can remove it," Yuna said, "but I need to go outside the ship." "Absolutely not. That is too dangerous." "I can fit through the maintenance airlock." "It is too small for a human, but I can do it." Daeho was about to refuse when another pirate ship moved in for an attack. If they did not remove the beacon, the pirates would be able to follow them, no matter where they went. "Okay, but be extremely careful," he said. "Wear the emergency suit and stay attached to the ship." While Yuna prepared for her dangerous mission, Daeho continued fighting. One of the other convoy ships, piloted by his friend Taemin Park, was in serious trouble. The pirates had disabled his engines and were moving into board. "You hear me?" Daeho called on the radio. "Barely," came the weak reply. "My ship is dead in space. They will be here in minutes." I am coming to help. No, save yourself. There is nothing you can do. But Daeho was already changing course toward his friend's ship. As he approached, he saw the pirates preparing to board. He opened fire on their ship, forcing them to retreat. Removed, Yuna announced as she came back inside. They cannot track us anymore. Good work, Daeho said. Now we need to help Taemin. Working together, they managed to get close enough to Taemin's ship to attach a towing cable. With the pirates confused by the loss of their tracking signal, Daeho was able to pull his friend's ship to safety. The remaining pirates, seeing that their advantage was gone, retreated into deep space. The convoy was safe, but barely. Later, as they docked at the next station for repairs, Taemin came aboard the Star Runner. He was a big man with graying hair and tired eyes. He looked at Yuna with surprise. "This is the companion who helped save us?" he asked. "Yes," Daeho replied. Yuna fixed our systems and removed the tracking beacon. Taemin stared at Yuna for a long moment. "I have had companions before," he said slowly, "but I always thought of them as just property, things to own." "Is not property," Daeho said firmly. "She is my friend and partner. I can see that," Taemin replied. "She risked her life to help people she barely knows. That takes real courage." Yuna looked embarrassed by the praise. "I only did what anyone would do." "No," Taemin said. "Most people would have hidden in the shelter. You chose to help, even when it was dangerous." After Taemin left, Daeho and Yuna sat in the common area. The excitement of the battle was wearing off, and Daeho realized how close they had come to disaster. "You could have been killed out there," he said. "So could you," Yuna replied. "We helped each other, and we helped your friend. That is what matters." "Where did you learn to fix ship systems so quickly?" "My people are natural engineers," Yuna said. "We learn by watching and doing." "I have been watching you work on the ship for days." Daeho shook his head in amazement. "The dealer said your people were simple and docile. But you are one of the smartest and bravest people I have ever met." "Maybe the dealer did not know my people very well," Yuna said quietly. As they prepared for sleep, Daeho thought about what had happened. Yuna had not only saved their lives, but she had also shown courage and skill that impressed even an experienced pilot like Tae-Min. He was beginning to realize that there might be more to the companion system than he had understood. If Yuna was this capable, what did that say about how other species were being treated? For now, though, he was just grateful that his friend was safe and that Yuna had chosen to help rather than hide. She had proven that she was much more than just a companion. She was a true partner. After the pirate attack, Daeho and Yuna continued their journey to the Kepler system. The cargo delivery went smoothly, and they had some time to rest at the destination station. As they sat in the ship's common area, Daeho found himself thinking about what had happened during the battle. "Yuna," he said, "I need to ask you something." "What is it?" she replied, looking up from the book she was reading. "During the fight with the pirates, you knew exactly what to do. You fixed systems I have seen trained engineers struggle with. Where did you learn all that?" Yuna was quiet for a long moment. She closed her book and looked at him with serious eyes. "I think it is time I told you the truth about my people," she said. "What do you mean? The things you were told about the Villani are not correct. We are not simple or primitive like the galaxy believes." Daeho leaned forward. "What are you saying?" "My people are highly skilled engineers and builders. We designed the cities on our homeworld to work in perfect harmony with nature. We created technologies that other species have never imagined. But the dealer said your people were docile and not very smart." "That is what the galaxy wants to believe," Yuna said sadly. "Because we are small and peaceful, other species think we are weak and simple. It makes it easier for them to justify what they do to us." "What do you mean?" "The companion trade, Daeho. My people did not choose to become companions. They were forced into it." Daeho felt a cold feeling in his stomach. "Tell me what happened." 20 years ago, traders came to our world. They said they wanted to establish trade relations, but they saw that we were small and peaceful, and they decided we would make good servants instead. They enslaved your people? Not exactly. They convinced our leaders that the companion program would be good for us. They said we could learn about other cultures and help bring peace to the galaxy. Many of my people volunteered, thinking it would be an honor. But it was not what they promised. No, once we left our homeworld, we were treated like property. Our intelligence was ignored. Our skills were wasted. We were told to be quiet and obedient, never to show how smart we really are. Deho thought about all the times he had seen alien companions being bought and sold. He had never questioned whether they wanted to be there. "Why did you volunteer?" he asked. "Because someone needs to learn about the species that took our freedom. I wanted to understand humans and other races, to find a way to help my people." "What did you find?" "I found that not all humans are like the traitors who hurt us. I found you, Deho. You treat me like a person, not like property. You ask for my opinions and respect my thoughts, because that is what you deserve." Yes. But most buyers do not see it that way. They see us as toys or servants. They never learn what we can really do. Deho was quiet for a long time, thinking about everything Yuna had told him. He felt sick, thinking about how the companion system really worked. "What can I do to help?" he asked finally.
Out.
"You are already helping," Yuna said. "By treating me as an equal, you are showing that things can be different. But there are others who need help too." "What do you mean?" "There is an elder from my people,"
named Hannah. "She was my teacher and guardian before I entered the companion program. I heard that she was sold to a collector named Voss." "What kind of collector?" "The worst kind. He buys companions not for friendship or even service, but to show off his power. He keeps them in cages and treats them badly. Many companions have died in his care." Deho felt anger building inside him. "Where is this Voss?" "He travels in a large ship through the outer systems. He is very rich and has many guards. Most people are afraid to challenge him." "Are you asking me to help rescue your teacher?" "I am asking if you would be willing to try. I know it is dangerous, and I know you do not owe my people anything. But Hannah is very important to me." Deho looked at Yuna, this small blue being who had risked her life to save him and his friend. She had shown him kindness and friendship, when she could have just done the minimum required. Now she was asking for his help to save someone she cared about. "Of course I will help," he said. "Hannah is important to you, which makes her important to me." Yuna's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, Deho. I was afraid you would think it was too dangerous." "It probably is too dangerous," Deho admitted. "But that does not mean we should not try." Over the next few days, they gathered information about Voss and his ship. Taman, who had stayed in contact since the pirate attack, helped them learn more about the collector. "He is a bad man," Taman said over the communication system. "He has been buying companions for years, and nobody has ever stood up to him." "Why not?" Deho asked. "Because he is powerful and rich, has connections with the authorities. Even if someone wanted to help the companions, they would be afraid of the consequences." "What about the companions themselves? Did they ever try to escape? Where would they go? Most of them do not have ships or money. And even if they escaped, they would just be caught and sold again. This whole system is wrong," Deho said. "I agree," Taman replied. "But what can we do about it?" "Can start by saving Hannah," Deho said, "and maybe others too." At night, as they planned their rescue mission, Yuna told Deho more about her people's philosophy. "We believe that true strength comes from helping others, not from having power over them. We think that the purpose of intelligence is to solve problems and create beauty, not to gain advantage over other beings." "That sounds like a good way to live," Deho said. "It is, but it also made us vulnerable to those who think differently." "Maybe that is changing," Deho said. "Maybe there are more people like us who are ready to stand up for what is right." "I hope so," Yuna said, "because there are many of my people who need help." As they prepared for the dangerous mission ahead, Deho realized that his life had completely changed. A few weeks ago, he had been a lonely pilot who just wanted some company. Now he was planning to rescue enslaved beings from a powerful criminal, but he did not regret his decision. Yuna had opened his eyes to the injustices in the galaxy. She had shown him that true friendship meant standing up for each other, even when it was dangerous. "Are you ready for this?" he asked her. "I am ready," she replied. "With you as my partner, I believe we can save Hannah and show the galaxy that things can be different. Deho smiled. Then let us go change the world. Finding Voss was not difficult. The collector was known throughout the outer systems, and his ship was easy to track. The problem was getting close enough to rescue Hannah without being caught. Deho spent 3 days following Voss's ship. At a safe distance, he watched his patterns and learned his schedule. The collector's vessel was much larger than the Star Runner, with heavy weapons and shields. He has at least 20 guards, Yuna observed as they watched through long range. Scanners. And the ship has multiple security systems. How do we get inside? Deho asked. I've been thinking about that, Yuna replied. Voss is always looking for new companions. What if we pretended you wanted to sell me? Absolutely not, Deho said immediately. I'm not putting you in danger like that. But it would get us close to him. Once we are inside his ship, we could find Hannah and the others. And then what? We would still be trapped on his ship with 20 guards. Yuna smiled. My people are good at finding ways out of difficult situations. Trust me. Much discussion, they decided on a plan. Deho would contact Voss and pretend to be a trader who wanted to sell a rare Villani companion. Once they were aboard his ship, they would locate Hannah and find a way to escape. This is probably the worst plan I have ever agreed to, Deho muttered, as he sent the message to Voss. It will work, Yuna said confidently. You will see, Voss responded quickly, agreeing to meet them at a neutral station. But when they arrived, they found that he had changed the plan. Instead of meeting at the station, he wanted them to come aboard his ship. I do not like this, Deho said. It feels like a trap. Maybe Yuna agreed, but Hannah's on that ship. We have to try. They docked with Voss's ship and were escorted inside by 2 armed guards. The interior was luxurious, with expensive artwork and furniture. But Deho could see security cameras everywhere. The guards watched their every move. Voss met them in a large room filled with display cases. He was a tall, thin man with cold eyes and an expensive suit. When he saw Yuna, he smiled in a way that made Deho's skin crawl. Ah, a Villani, Voss said. And such a pretty one. She will make a fine addition to my collection. She is very well trained, Deho said, playing his part, obedient and skilled. I am sure she is, Voss replied. Let me show you my other acquisitions. Led them through several rooms, each containing different alien beings in glass enclosures. Deho tried to hide his horror at seeing so many intelligent creatures treated like museum pieces. In the 3rd room, they found Hannah. The elderly Villani was sitting in a small cage, looking weak and tired. When she saw Yuna, her eyes widened, with surprise and hope. Magnificent, is she not? Voss said, noticing their interest. She is one of my oldest pieces. Very rare. She looks sick, Deho observed. They all get like that eventually, Voss said with a shrug. But they serve their purpose while they last. Yuna made a small sound of distress, and Deho put a gentle hand on her shoulder. He could see that she was struggling to control her emotions. Now, let us discuss the price for your companion, Voss said. I am prepared to offer 50,000 credits. That seems fair, Deho replied, but I would like to see the money first. Of course, guards, take our guests to the payment room. As they were escorted through the ship, Yuna whispered to Deho, I saw a maintenance panel near Hannah's room. I can access the ship's systems from there. What about the guards? Leave that to me. In the payment room, Voss began counting out credits. Deho tried to stall for time, asking questions about the transaction. Meanwhile, Yuna pretended to look around the room curiously. Our ship is very impressive, she said to one of the guards. It must have very advanced systems. The best money can buy, the guard replied proudly. I would love to see the engine room, Yuna said innocently. I have always been interested in how big ships work. The guard laughed. Companions do not. Need to know about engines? Of course not, Yuna said, looking disappointed. I just thought it would be interesting. While they talked, Deho noticed Yuna doing something with her hands behind her back. She was working on a small device she had hidden in her clothing. Suddenly, the ship's lights went out. Emergency lighting kicked in, but the main power was clearly down. Okay. In the confusion, Yuna grabbed Deho's hand and pulled him toward the door. The exits are sealed, one of the guards shouted. No one can leave. That is what they think, Yuna whispered to Deho. That disrupted their security system. The doors are not really sealed. They ran through the darkened corridors, following the path back to Hannah's room. Behind them, they could hear guards shouting and running around in confusion. How did you do that? Deho asked as they ran. I built a small electromagnetic pulse device while we were planning, Yuna explained. It was hidden in my clothing. When I activated it, it disrupted their computer systems. They reached Hannah's room and found the elderly Villani waiting for them. Juna, my dear child, she said as they opened her cage. I knew you would come. We need to get everyone out, Yuna said. All the companions. There are too many, Deho protested. We cannot carry them all. We do not need to carry them, Hannah said weakly. Most of us can walk if we are given the chance. Working quickly, they opened every cage and enclosure they could find. Dozens of alien beings emerged, many of them weak but determined to escape. Follow us, Deho called to them. We are getting out of here. But as they reached the docking bay, they found Voss waiting for them with a group of armed guards. Did you really think you could steal from me? He asked angrily. These companions are my property. They're not property, Deho said firmly. They are people, and they deserve to be free. Free, Voss laughed. They are nothing but merchandise. Without owners, they are worthless. You are wrong, Hannah said, stepping forward despite her weakness. We are engineers, artists, philosophers, and teachers. We have value that you cannot see because you only think about owning things. Enough talk, Voss said, raising his weapon. Guards, kill them all. But before the guards could fire, the ship shook violently. Through the windows, they could see another ship approaching. It was Taman in his repaired cargo vessel, and he was not alone. Several other ships were with him. This is Taman Park. Came a voice over the communication system. Voss, you are surrounded. Release the companions and surrender. How did they find us? Voss demanded. I sent a distress signal before I shut down your systems, Yuna said. My people may be peaceful, but we are not helpless. In the confusion that followed, Deho and the rescued companions were able to reach their ships. Voss and his guards were overwhelmed by the rescue fleet and forced to surrender as they flew. Away to safety, Deho looked at the dozens of freed beings crowded into the cargo hold. Hannah sat next to Yuna, holding her hand and crying with joy. You did it, he said to Yuna. You saved them all. We did it, she corrected him. Together? What happens now? Deho asked. Now, we show the galaxy that things can be different. Yuna replied. Show them that cooperation is better than ownership, and that freedom is more valuable than any price. As they headed toward a safe haven, Deho realized that their adventure was just beginning. They had saved these companions, but there were many more who still needed help. But for now, he was content to see the happiness on Eunice's face as she reunited with her teacher. They had proven that friendship and courage could overcome even the most powerful oppression. The galaxy was about to learn that. Underestimating the small and peaceful was a dangerous mistake. 6 months after the rescue mission, Deho stood in the conference room of his new company headquarters. Through the large windows, he could see ships being built in the orbital shipyard outside. These were not ordinary cargo vessels, but revolutionary. New designs that combined human engineering with Villani technology. The new ships are 40% more efficient than standard models, Yuna reported to the group of investors and officials gathered around the table.
Oh.
They use half the fuel and can carry twice the cargo. How is this possible? Asked one of the human investors. The Villani have been developing advanced propulsion systems for centuries, Hannah explained. She looked much healthier now, her strength restored after months of proper care. We simply never had the opportunity to share this knowledge before. Meeting was going well. Word of the revolutionary ship designs had spread quickly through the galaxy, and everyone wanted to know more about the partnership between Deho's company and the Villani people. What about the other rescued companions? Asked a government official. Are they all working with you now? Some are, Deho replied. Others have chosen to return to their homeworlds or start their own businesses.
The important thing is that
they now have choices. After the meeting ended, Deho and Yuna walked through the shipyard together. The place was busy with workers from dozens of different species, all working together on the new ships. It is hard to believe how much has changed, Deho said. Change was always possible, Yuna replied. It just needed someone willing to start it. You mean someone willing to treat others as equals instead of property? Exactly. They stopped at the construction site of their newest ship design. This one was even more advanced than the others, incorporating technologies that neither humans nor Villani could have developed alone. The news reports say that companion sales have dropped by 60%, Yuna said. More people are questioning the system. That is good, but there is still work to do. Yes, but we have allies now. Taman has been spreading the word among other pilots. Many of them are starting to see companions as potential partners instead of servants. Deho smiled. His old friend had become one of their strongest supporters. Timon now employed several former companions as crew members on his ship, and he spoke publicly about the benefits of working with other species as equals. What about Voss? Any word on his trial? He was sentenced to 20 years in prison, Yuna said. But more importantly, the courts ruled that the companion trade violates sentient rights. It is now illegal in 12 systems. Only 12? There are hundreds of systems where it is still legal. Change takes time, Yuna said patiently. But each system that bans the trade makes it easier for others to follow. They continued walking through the shipyard, observing the work being done. Near the main assembly area, they found a group of young Villani teaching human engineers about advanced materials science. Let's look at that, Deho said. 6 months ago, most humans thought your people were simple and primitive. Now they are learning. From Villani teachers, knowledge shared is knowledge multiplied, Hannah said, approaching them from behind. It is an old saying of our people. How are the new students doing? Yuna asked her former teacher. Very well. Humans are quick learners when they put aside their prejudices. And the Villani are happy to share what they know. Speaking of sharing knowledge, Deho said, I have some news. The Galactic Trade Council wants to meet with us next month. What do they want? Yuna asked. They want to discuss establishing formal diplomatic relations with the Villani homeworld. They are finally ready to recognize your people as equals. Eyes widened with surprise and joy. Really? After all these years? The success of our partnership has shown them that they can no longer ignore the intelligence and capabilities of other species, Deho explained. Races from making the same mistakes. This is wonderful news, Hannah said. Many of our people will be able to return home and help rebuild our world. What about you? Deho asked Yuna. Will you want to go back to your homeworld? Yuna thought for a moment. I will visit, of course. But my home is here now, working. With you and building something new, we still have much to accomplish. Are you sure? You have done so much already? You could rest and enjoy the life you have earned? Rest is not the Villani way, Yuna said with a smile. We find happiness in work that helps others. Besides, there are still many species being treated unfairly. Our work is far from finished. Over the following weeks, their company continued to grow. They established training programs for former companions, teaching them skills that would help them find good jobs. They also created a fund to help other species who had been exploited by the companion trade. One evening, as they sat in the observation deck of their headquarters, Deho and Yuna watched the stars outside. It reminded him of those early days on his cargo ship, when she had first shown him how to find wonder in simple things. Do you ever regret it? He asked. Entering the companion program, I mean. No, Yuna said without hesitation. If I had not been sold as a companion, I would never have met you. I would never have learned about humans who were willing to treat other species fairly. And I would still be a lonely pilot, flying cargo, and complaining about my life. You were never truly lonely, Yuna said. You just needed to find the right friend. You changed everything for me. You showed me that happiness comes from helping others, not just from achieving personal success. You changed everything for me, too. You showed me that not all humans are like the traitors who hurt my people. You proved that friendship can exist. Between different species, they sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching the ships come and go from the shipyard. Each vessel represented hope for a better future, a galaxy where different species could work together as equals. What do you think will happen next? Deho asked. I think we will continue to grow and learn, Yuna replied. Our species will. Join us. More people will realize that cooperation is better than exploitation in the companion trade. It will end eventually, not all at once, but gradually. As more people see the benefits of treating other species as partners, the old ways will become unacceptable. You really believe that? I have to believe it, because the alternative is too sad to accept. As the months passed, their prediction proved accurate. More systems banned the companion trade. More species established diplomatic relations with the galactic community. And more people like Deho learned to see beyond their prejudices. The company that had started as a simple partnership between a lonely pilot and his alien companion had become a symbol of hope for the entire galaxy. It showed that when different species worked together with mutual respect, they could accomplish things that none of them could achieve alone. Deho often thought about that day when he had walked into the companion market, looking for someone to keep him company on his cargo runs. He had expected to buy a servant, but instead he had found a friend, a partner, a teacher. Yuna had been right from the beginning. She had been truly happy, not because she was owned, but because she was finally free to be herself and to help others. In teaching him about joy and friendship, she had not only changed his life, but had started a revolution that would change the galaxy, and it all began with a simple act of treating another being with dignity and respect. The universe was vast and full of wonders, but the greatest wonder of all was the friendship between different species who chose to see each other as equals. That was the real treasure they had discovered together.